Hi, Kevin, the Pragmatic Luther at Ledoux Guitars. Today I'm putting braces in the back of this acoustic bass guitar. I'm about ready to start gluing those down. And I just thought of a real quick convenience sort of trick that you might be able to use when you're doing a similar operation. So I'm going to bring you in close and show you what I got. I lay out my bracing on the back. I don't know if you can see the pencil lines here, but they are there. And I've glued down my back strip, and I've rounded it off and refined it and so on. And so I'm going to cut in the positions of the braces. I think I've shown this before in a video, but it's handy here maybe again. This is just a piece of scrap hardwood with a very shallow but wide rabbet cut in it, and with the ends nicely squared off. And that acts as a guide so that once I've marked one edge of each one of those braces, I can just use that as a square to help me get started with that cut across there. And I don't bring those full depth. You'll see why in a minute. And that'll be really the point of today's little video. But once I've established one side of each one of those braces, then I'll take my braces, which generally are all the same thickness in the case of my guitars. But what I'll do is I'll take a brace and lay it in its correct position. And you could use a pencil, but I like to use a scalpel because it gives me a nice sharp mark on the opposite side of that brace. And then I'll take my squaring device again and my craft saw and just come up to that, and I'll cut that. But I don't go all the way down. And here's why. And here's the trick or the gimmick of today's demonstration. I'll just take a narrow slat of wood. It doesn't have to be terribly thick, but I put it under that center strip just for the purpose of being able to push that back down ever so slightly as I finish cutting those. And I don't know if you've done this before. Sometimes your saw, you miss a little bit, you misjudge, and you make a hell of a score in there, or even cut into that back a little bit. And you don't want to do that if you can help it. And I guess if you miss, you're still above it. You can work your way down and chisel all of that out. I know. But this is just a little convenience that I came across. And I thought, maybe you could use this gimmick in your shop too. So there it is. And then, of course, you take that out and continue your work. Now, of course, you don't want to press too hard on this because you don't want to threaten to crack the back or anything like that. But this works even if you have a three-piece back and so on with two or three of these, two of those joint strips in there. It still works beautifully. And then I'll chisel all of this out and get ready to put my braces down. So when I chisel these out, it's quick and easy. And I don't have those, kind of embarrassing saw marks there to contend with. And I will work on this a little more to get those down absolutely clean at the bottom. And then, of course, you can test to make sure that each brace drops in there as you expect. And it looks like we're good to go. So we're going to glue them in. This one is a little bit tight. I guess it'll go down nicely. But if they're too tight, that's no problem. You just take a 3/4 inch chisel, for example. Just take a 3/4 inch chisel and just cut yourself a little slice off there, and you're good to go. Well, thanks for watching this quick tutorial. I hope that little gimmick is useful to several of you that are making guitars. I'm betting right now that somebody has already noticed the shape of these braces and will inquire as to exactly what it is I'm doing or what I think I'm doing. These braces, first and foremost, are not spruce. They are not cedar. They're not a conifer at all. These braces are black cherry, and this back is radiused at a 25-foot radius. These braces are done the same way a coniferous brace would be, you know, the grain standing up and so on. And the important thing in the shape to me was the scalloping out here. I wanted these all to be the same because they're going to get mortised into those linings. Beyond that, I felt the freedom to make some aesthetic choices. What effect do I expect? What tonal effect do I expect? I have no idea. And to be honest, I'm not so sure that I care. This is something that I have seen done, I think, by Rosie Haydenrick in England. She's doing things similar to this also with hardwoods. And I really liked what I saw, and I thought, you know, give this a try. So it's just whimsy on my part, and I hope it turns out to be what, pardon the lawnmower going by. It's whimsy on my part, and I hope it turns out to be aesthetically attractive on the inside of the guitar and tonally just as tasty as I want the instrument to be. So, once again, there may not be a great deal of intelligence here, but everything you see and everything that I will say to you is from my own intelligence, not artificial intelligence. Kevin Ledoux, the Pragmatic Luthier, thanking you again for watching. See you next time.